Welcome to the first episode of 2025. I'm so excited to dive into my business expenses today after it was highly requested on my last video where I dove into my income streams for 2024. I love talking business and seeing behind the scenes of other people's businesses, so I'm very excited to dive into this today and talk about what I spend money on in my business. I think over the years, I've gotten a lot more open to spending money, obviously in a smart way, making sure that it's something that is beneficial for me and my goals. But for a long time, I was very protective and wanting to have no expenses in my business and all profit, which of course, don't we all? But I've learned that you really have to spend money to make money. It's a cliche for a reason. And a lot of the most successful people that I look up to spend money to make money. So I'm going to walk through some of the expenses in my business and different categories of my expenses. We'll cover people, so my team of people that I work with in my company. We'll talk about advertising and marketing. We'll talk about different operating expenses and software and tech and things like that. And then also continuing education. So myself investing in coaching and education so that I'm always learning as well. All right, so let's start with my favorite topic personally, which is people, my labor expenses, because I didn't have any help for a long time and I still don't have any full-time help, but I do have a handful of contractors as well as an intern who started last month who is helping me with some things. In terms of people who I pay for a service to help me in my business, I have an assistant who does customer care. Her name's Diana, and she also does some miscellaneous tasks. She uploads my podcast episodes for me to Spotify. She has made some workbooks for me in the past, so she does some more miscellaneous things. So I have her. I also have a marketing consultant, I would call her, I guess, who helps me create the deliverables for the Creatives Content Club. So every single month we put together a monthly content plan for my members with a whole plan of graphic templates, video templates, trending audios, video ideas, caption templates, email ideas. And so it's really helpful for me to have someone else helping with that as well. So she's a designer and comes up with the graphics, and we collaborate on the ideas to make sure that it still falls in line with my strategy that I teach. This year, I paid a consultant to help me with my membership and strategy behind the membership. I have a video editor who edits all of my YouTube videos. And I also have my social media intern who started in the beginning of December. So this is very new. And it's just a few months internship to help me with planning for 2025, to help me with some miscellaneous tasks and social media and some other marketing tasks. So all of those that I just listed help me with my marketing business. I don't have an assistant really for my author brand. I never really have. I've always done the social media myself. It's always something that I've wanted to protect and really care for and do myself. So at the moment, all of those things that I just mentioned were for my marketing company and helping with that. In terms of other contractors that I pay, I have a CPA, an accountant who I pay for doing my taxes each year. And then I also have a bookkeeper who does my monthly profit and loss statement. Those were not things that I had early on. I didn't have a bookkeeper until a couple years in. I used Wave early on in my business to track and do my own bookkeeping, and it was actually pretty simple, and they had a free plan at the time. So hopefully they still do if you're interested in that. It's called Wave, and it was a bookkeeping service. I think they also have invoicing and things like that. So I wanted to break down some of the percentages because I saw a comment about that, a couple comments about that on my last video who were interested. And I thought some of them would be interesting to share. So for all of those people that I just mentioned, that makes up about 8.5% of my total income goes to that bucket of expenses, which I don't think is bad. I was always afraid to hire people thinking that I would be giving away my income and being left with so much less profit, but I've definitely found it pretty manageable to make sure that I'm paying my people fairly. I charge the rate that they charge because they're independent contractors. And then also my intern is a paid intern, so I'm not doing any unpaid internships or anything like that, but it's about 8.5 to 9% of my total income. Now, when it comes to my payroll, and by the way, none of this is tax advice, business advice, legal advice, anything. I'm just sharing what I do. So for myself, I pay myself on payroll. And so with that, I pay employer taxes out of each of my paychecks, pay myself the same amount every single month. And then I also have different fees associated with my payroll. And I use Gusto for my payroll, which I'll link in the description if you are looking for a payroll provider. Now, the only reason I do this is because I'm an LLC, taxed as an S Corp. This is relevant if you're in the US, and definitely something to talk to your own accountant about and something that I can advise on, but that is what has been advised to me. So that is what I do. And I run payroll and then therefore have to pay employer taxes and extra fees to run payroll each month. So that section of my expenses totals to 20.76% of my income, but that is to pay myself and pay taxes. And then there's additional taxes that I also pay quarterly to my city as well. And then usually I have to pay sometimes some extra quarterly estimates as well to the federal taxes. So that is what that looks like. And let's move on to advertising and marketing, one of my favorites as a marketing company. So I spend a big chunk on Facebook ads for my courses and my guides. So as far as advertising goes, I spent about 25% of my total income on Facebook ads for my digital courses and my guides, which make up about 53% of my revenue. So it's about double, about 2 times return, plus more, because typically some people will end up joining my membership, which made up about 37% of revenue this year as well. So typically I see a good return on Facebook ads. I spent very little on Facebook ads for my books, my poetry books this year. It's definitely something that I want to look into more in 2025. However, since I am traditionally published now and not indie published, you make less per book on traditionally published books, so it's harder to see a return on Facebook ad spend when you are traditionally published. So indie authors listening, you typically have a little bit more to work with when it comes to any form of paid advertising, something to explore for yourself if you are interested and have the budget to do so and are willing to risk a little bit and potentially lose some money, because it definitely takes some fiddling and optimizing. Yeah, so I would like to explore that a little bit more in 2025 for myself, but I'm not sure how much I'll actually end up spending since I do make less per book. But yeah, so I spent a lot on Facebook ads. That's the only form of paid advertising that I do, but I typically find really good returns for it. The other things that I have are affiliates. I have some affiliates who will promote my courses and guides to their audience, and they'll get a commission off of that. I also have a couple other categories, networking and promotional. Let's see what those are. Okay, so one of them was a membership that I joined that connects you to other people in your local area. So that one was more, that's considered networking and marketing. And then also a really low cost membership that I am in about memberships. So to learn more about memberships. So that's under networking. And then promotional, let's take a look. We're learning together. Oh, okay. So this actually fell under some of the items that I ordered for some of my book signings that I did this year. So I ordered like some signage for my book signings. I have a whole video about my book signings that I did earlier this year, or I guess early last year, that I'll link to as well if you want to see that. Ordering some pre-order gifts from Etsy and from Amazon. So that's what is under that category. Okay, that makes sense. So those couple of buckets added up to less than 1% for the whole year of my income. Another big chunk of fees that I pay are merchant fees. So I use Stripe and I use PayPal for processing payments, and they take a percentage of every single sale. So every single guide that's purchased, course that's purchased, membership, anything, they take a chunk. And so that added up to a little less than 5% of my income, which kind of hurts, to be honest. It definitely adds up. I mean, 5% obviously isn't a huge amount, but it is a decent chunk of income that goes directly to paying Stripe and PayPal. So as far as my book sales, I'm true to my word about using organic marketing. The only things that I spent money on for marketing for my books this year were some of those items that I just mentioned. Purchasing some promotional items for my pre-order campaigns. I had like mini messages in a bottle that were really cute. I had stickers and bookmarks And then I also paid for like some signs for my book signing. That was pretty much it on marketing, besides, like I said, a tiny amount of Facebook ads that I ran in December to encourage people to buy my new book as a holiday gift. I was spending about $15 a day for that, and I did that for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So that's about how much I spent on Facebook ads for the book side of my business and marketing for the book side of my business. And for a very long time, I spent nothing, $0. So this is actually an increase from previous years. I have very much relied on social media organically, and it has worked. A couple other things that I have are my offer delivery expenses. So the cost that it takes to actually sell my offers. And so there's a few different buckets of this. Coaches and guest speakers are one of them. So I have paid guest experts to come into my memberships this year to teach something specific, to teach a masterclass, to host a workshop. And so those, I of course pay them for their time and expertise there. A little bit on printing and fulfillment. What was this? Ordering boxes. Okay, that's really small. That was another thing. I ordered boxes for shipping out book bundles that I did over the holidays. So that also came with shipping expenses, like going to the post office and paying to ship those out. And that was a very small percentage as well. But I'm also not selling direct and shipping them out all year long like a lot of indie authors might be doing. So your expenses will probably be a lot higher than mine in that case. So that was that for offer delivery expenses. Normally, I would have a payment for my checkout software and my course hosting software, but I actually purchased Thrivecart, which is a one-time payment for a lifetime access, which is really nice, and why I wanted to do that so I don't have a monthly subscription or an annual subscription. So I will link Thrivecart in the description below, but I paid for that in 2023. So all of 2024, I did not have to pay for a checkout software or a course hosting platform because I use Thrivecart Learn to host all of my courses and my membership. So that's also really nice to keep my costs down a little bit. All right, so let's take a look into my software now, because even though I paid lifetime for Thrivecart, I have other software that I paid for monthly or annually. So let's go through what each of those are. I pay for ManyChat. That is a monthly subscription that helps me automate my comments. So if you've ever seen someone say on Instagram or seen me say, comment a specific word and I'll send you more information to your DMs, and you get it really quickly upon commenting, that is probably ManyChat being used for that. And I started paying for that this year to help me automate, because it's really helpful and helps me get more engagement on my posts, more comments, and then I just send them the link to where I want them to go or where they've requested more information. I even use it for YouTube videos sometimes. I'll say, comment play, and I'll send you the link to my YouTube channel so you can watch my latest video. And I just have that set up to go right to my YouTube channel, and they can find my latest video from there. So it's very set it and forget it, which is very helpful. Another thing that I pay for is HoneyBook, which I probably will be cutting in 2025. I use it for contracts whenever I have an editing client. However, since I am cutting down on editing so much in 2025, or at least that's the plan, I probably won't have a need for this anymore. So I probably will cut that one out, but I do pay for HoneyBook each month. I also pay for Quaderno each month, and that is for sales tax. So I collect sales tax depending on the location of the customer on my guides and courses. And Quaderno is a software that helps automate that, helps me not have to manage it all on my own. So Quaderno estimates based off the customer's location, estimates the amount of tax that needs to be collected, and then gives me a report at the end of each month whenever I have to pay sales tax. And so that's something that really stressed me out and overwhelmed me. And Quaderno does help, but it is expensive in my opinion, but it's something that I have to be compliant and pay sales tax. The other platform that I did pay for all of this year that will be getting cut in 2025 is MemberVault, where I hosted my poetry club membership that I closed at the end of January that is now over by the time that this video comes out. The access to that is ending. And then also I used to host all of my courses and guides there in 2023 prior to moving over to Thrivecart. So I'm going to stop paying for that once I close everything out and make sure that everything there has been moved over properly. The next one is Squarespace. This is what I use for both my author website and my marketing website. And I also buy my domains through Squarespace. So I pay for the hosting of the websites, the domains, and that makes it easy to have everything in one platform. So I really like the convenience of that. And I find Squarespace pretty easy to use. I've been pretty happy with it and using it for years and years and years. So they are my website host of choice. Am I paying so much for StreamYard? Okay, I'm gonna have to investigate after this video. So I use StreamYard to stream into my Facebook group, and I've used it to stream onto YouTube before too. And I really like it, but if that is the price that I paid, something is wrong. So I'm gonna look into that afterward. I do like StreamYard, but if this is the price, I'm finding an alternative. So that one is another software that I use. And then what else? Google Workspace is another one. So I use that to have my business email address, to be able to record Google Meets, which I use occasionally for workshops, for one-to-one meetings so I can record them, and also for storage space for my Google Drive where I host a lot of things. So Google Workspace, for me, that was $107, which I think is different pricing depending on if you have like a personal or a business. So I paid $107 for that for annual. The other one that I have is MailerLite. So that is my email marketing platform of choice. I will also link that in the description as well. And that one I paid annual $440. And that is to host my email list, both my author email list and my Marketing by Shelby email list, and send out emails on a regular basis, which is weekly for my marketing company. And I send semi-monthly/monthly for my author newsletter at the moment. I increase it around book launches though. All right, so a lot of different software that I think I just covered, but that is all of them for 2024 at least. I didn't have to buy any new computer, laptop, phone, anything like that, but that would fall under new hardware generally. But this year I didn't, which is nice. However, I am anticipating it for 2025, probably a desktop computer and potentially a new vlogging camera and mic setup. So that will probably be a 2025 expense for me. Now let's go to continuing education, because I invest in consulting and coaching and conferences and things like that to continue learning myself as well. So this actually seems kind of low, but for 2024, my continuing education made up 3.5% of my income, which I feel good about. And actually, some of the stuff that I did pay for in 2024 isn't happening until 2025. So I suspect that my 2025 will be lower as well. Let me dive into the courses and programs. So included in this is a writing residency that I'm doing in 2025, which I'm so excited for. So that includes just the fees that I'm paying to do this program. It also includes a membership that I'm in with a mentor to learn more about digital products. It includes some random things that I just happen to buy throughout the year, like low ticket courses on marketing, low ticket, whatever things. I fall for Facebook ads sometimes and end up buying stuff. So those are some random things, but typically low cost to help me learn. And then I invested the most that I've ever invested this year into a program. It was a 90-day program about memberships, and I paid $5,500 for that program, which was a huge stretch for me. It was very uncomfortable, and I did it. I think it was worth it. I definitely learned a lot. I think that it was a little overpriced personally for what I got. However, it stretched me and showed me that I can kind of like trust myself and put that sort of money into my education, and that it was worth it. And then it ended up being a good experience. And then the other thing that I invested in this year that's happening in 2025 is a social media conference, which I'm super excited for as well, to hear from some of the top people in social media and marketing and learn from them for a few days. So I will definitely be doing some recap videos on what I learned there and also doing a deep dive in my Creators Content Club membership on some of the top marketing and social media trends for 2025. So I'm really excited for that one as well. So as you can see, I do invest in my education and continue learning, and it only made up 3.5% of my income this year, and I think it'll be a little bit lower next year, but I'm excited for some of the things to come in 2025 to help me continue growing. That covers all of my expenses. The last category is my home office expenses. So a portion of my home office, like utilities and supplies that I might buy for my home office and things like that, get taken off of my business expenses. That's again something to cover with your own accountant to figure out what percentage is accurate for you and your business and your situation. But my office expenses added up to around 1.14% of my total income for 2024. The last number that I wanted to leave you with, because I think that it's always interesting to hear from other businesses as well, is my net income. So the net income after paying myself a portion of expenses, like we covered earlier, through payroll and all of the other categories, my net income is 33.86% of my total revenue, which I'm happy with. So my bookkeeper gives percentages that they recommend, and they recommend staying above 30, and that is after paying myself and giving myself some income. So to have over 33% profit, I of course would love to see it higher, and I think it will continue to get higher since I have been investing in my own learning and stuff as my business grows. I think it'll get higher, but I am happy with that for sure, and I hit my goals that I wanted to hit for the year. So I don't know. Did we enjoy this deep dive? I feel like, sorry if it was a little bit all over the place. I was finding things out myself as I was digging into this sheet, but I hope you found it interesting. I always like to hear about people's businesses and what they're kind of doing behind the scenes. So let me know if you found this helpful. If you want to see any more business breakdowns, if you want to learn anything else, I definitely would be interested in sharing more. So thank you so much for watching. I'm very excited to get back into the marketing side of things in upcoming videos. And if you have any requests for what you'd like to see on this channel in 2025, please leave a comment and let me know, because I would love to hear from you and fit that into my content calendar for the year. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.